85% of its drone fleet. Elbit are Israel's largest weapons manufacturer. Fisher German are responsible for the operations, maintenance and oversight of Elbit subsidiary. AV engines in Sandstone, Stafford.
Palestine will live
Forever.
Palestine will live
Forever.
Palestine will live
Forever.
Palestine will live
Forever.
I can't hear you. Palestine will live forever.
Civilians in Gaza.
Armed drones against civilians in Gaza.
They have targeted schools, hospitals, churches, mosques, and neighborhoods. Schools, hospitals, churches, mosques, and neighborhoods. Over 20,000 Palestinians, including over 8,000 children, have been murdered by Israel in the past 6 weeks. Make Israeli drones will shut you down. If you make Israeli drones, make Israeli drones will shut you down. Ceasefire now, lift the siege, end the occupation, free Palestine. Fatima Atallah, born in 1990. From Palestine to Mexico.
All the wars have got to go.
From Palestine to Mexico.
Palestine will be free.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
From Manama to the sea.
Palestine will be free. Liberation. Liberation. Liberation.
All the crimes in your name. Fisher German, you can't hide.
Fisher German, you can hide. In the past 6 weeks,
Fisher German's prophet.
Fisher German's prophets
Soaked in Palestinian blood.
are soaked in Palestinian blood.
Elbert's prophet.
Elvis prophets
Soaked in Palestinian blood.
are soaked in Palestinian blood.
Similar
The neighbors, we don't need them, need them. Back up, we want freedom, freedom. For these genocidal neighbors, we don't need them, need them. Freedom, freedom. For these genocidal neighbors, we don't need them, need them. Back up, we want freedom, freedom.
95. Gaza, the war runs on the fire of hell. Horror, fear, death and destruction. But this time our area was safe. Every time the occupation attacks, they hit us first. But it looks like this time they got bored of our area and wanted to make some change, so we got lucky. I used to spend the whole day sitting on a chair watching people running away from their houses towards the borders, carrying their belongings, sons, daughters, and going west. Some of them were carrying their kids on their shoulders, their mothers on their backs. Where they were going, you don't know. So all of Gaza got squeezed into one area. Then the distance became tighter, and they started running away from the mosque. And it got tighter and tighter, till they got to our house. I said to my father, "What? Is it our turn now? But where are we going to go?" My dad insisted that we stay at home, and said, "A person who leaves his house loses his dignity." I said to myself, "Kid, stay put. You're not better than others, and whatever happens, happens."
The officers down to the whole day. I also just want to say that this does not end here. There are companies like Fisher German around the country. These are companies that your university invests in. These are companies that your workplaces have partnerships with and investments in. These are companies that are complicit in Israeli apartheid and the genocide of Palestinians and the 75-year occupation of Palestine. When you leave
I'm a member of the Palestinian Youth Movement. We're standing here today in front of the offices of Fisher German, which are the landlords of one particular site of Elbit Systems, a subsidiary, in Shenstone in Staffordshire. And Elbit Systems is the largest weapons manufacturer for Israel, or the Zionist entity, and they supply 85% of the killer drones that are used in the genocidal campaign on Gaza, as we've seen the most recent one, the most brutal one, where over 20,000 Palestinians were murdered in the last 6 weeks. We're standing here because we understand that the military-industrial complex and the war machine is international. We know that Elbit has 8 sites in Britain, 2 of which have been shut down, but they are also enabled by their landlords, by institutions that invest in them. So it's our responsibility to confront this war machine in all its forms, and that includes by pushing universities to divest from the war machine, but also ensuring that landlords evict these companies that enable the genocide that's currently unfolding in Gaza. JLL used to be one of Elbit Systems' landlords, and because of the campaigns that were directed at them, they dropped Elbit Systems as a leaseholder, as like one of their leases. So we know that these kinds of campaigns are effective and work. They just need to be sustained. So this definitely isn't going to be the last time we show up at Fisher German's doorstep until they drop Elbit Systems. We also know that through actions like this, we build a popular movement around the war machine, around the Israeli genocide of the Palestinian people. And today there were actions at 4 different sites, in Birmingham, in Liverpool, and in London, and in Sheffield. So I think it's really important for us to think about both the actual material gains of dropping Elbit Systems, but we also know that there's a growing popular movement around Palestine, around the war machine, and the wins that we get against Elbit are wins for the people of Kashmir, for the people of the Philippines, for people who are resisting border violence on the border wall of Mexico. Elbit Systems is complicit in all of these things. To me, Palestine means the liberation of all oppressed people. It's not just a cause for Palestinians, it's a cause for every person in the world that has a moral compass, that has a vision for a just world. And that's been proven in the last couple of weeks on a scale that's unprecedented historically. We've seen hundreds of thousands of people come out on the streets to demand an end to the carnage in Gaza. I think Palestine also means justice for so many different struggles, whether it's the struggle against the war machine and the military-industrial complex, the struggle against surveillance systems that Elbit Systems is also complicit in, or the struggle against racialized violence. We've seen Israeli military generals come out and dehumanize Palestinians in a way that is very familiar to anyone who comes from a formerly colonized part of the world. And so we need to see Palestine as a part of this international struggle against colonialism, against imperialism, against racist oppression, and in a lot of ways, in our context, especially against Islamophobia. All the weapons that were used in the aftermath of the war on terror are being reused right now to suppress Palestinian voices and to discipline our right to protest, our right to say, not in our name, not on our doorstep. We don't want for there to be any Israeli war factories or any war factories for that matter on British soil.